It's time for another episode of Meet the Author Podcast.
Tonight is a special edition of Meet the Author Podcast, but just as enjoyable as all the other shows.
On these podcasts, you'll meet insightful authors.
And as always, you'll enjoy the casual conversations.
You can watch it live, or you can enjoy the show when you have time.
We're talking about books and the pangs of writing and publishing them.
Now, on with the show. Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And we're really glad that you're watching or listening tonight, whichever, or even if you're listening or watching later on. Maybe you're going to be listening on our YouTube channel. Anyway, We're so thankful that you're in our audience. I just wanted to take a minute to give a shout out to all the people who listen to us around the world. And we don't often mention that, but we want to thank you.
Yeah, we're over 140,000 downloads of just the audio alone. So you're being heard, everybody. All you authors that have been on the show. And thank you very much.
All around the world, we want to give a shout out to those who listen and watch, and that is Australia.
And that's the United Kingdom.
France.
Cameroon.
Bangladesh.
The Arab Emirates.
Portugal.
Canada.
Netherlands.
Japan.
Russia.
South Korea.
India.
Israel.
Brazil.
Switzerland.
Germany.
Spain.
Isle of Man.
Liechtenstein.
Lithuania.
Monaco.
Sweden.
And Turkey.
Yes, and we appreciate every single one of you, and we're so glad that you're listening and that you're watching.
Absolutely.
We also want to remind everybody that we have another podcast, and that's once a month, generally on the last Thursday of the month, and that's Haunted Campfire Tales. I almost forgot the name again.
You can either watch or listen on TampaBaySpirits1.com. And they're all there, all the episodes. There's like almost 30 episodes. I think 30 episodes, 29 or 30.
So, we've been doing that for a couple of years now. And for those of you who don't know, we're on a paranormal team, Tampa Bay Spirits. If you're interested in a topic that you would like us to have discussed, we would love to do that. If we have to look things up for you, we don't mind doing that. If you have a live, true ghost story, we would like to hear that. We don't need any made-up campfire tales.
There's plenty of real ones.
There's plenty of real ones, just the real ones. CW
Hey,
Haas.
CW.
He says, howdy, Rob and Joan.
Paul Hollis. Hello, Paul.
He says, good evening, Rob and Joan.
And Marjorie, hello, glad to join you again. We're glad you did join us.
And Paul Hollis said, wow, that's a lot of eyes and ears. Congratulations. It is, and it's all around the world. And, we really are thankful that people are tuning in and listening and meeting a lot of interesting authors and finding about all their really wonderful books. Anyway, let's bring on tonight's
Tonight is about
guest.
Magnolia Bluff. Mm-hmm. And underground authors. Mm-hmm. And we have two underground authors with us tonight.
Fellow authors, because we are also underground.
That's right.
Authors.
Linda Pirtle and Joe Congel. Hi, Joe. Hi, Linda.
Hello, and good evening to everyone around the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty exciting, right?
It is. It is. I'm impressed.
I'm impressed too.
Well, now hang on a minute. I need to text or send a message in that says hello, Rob and Joan, because I didn't do that today.
Oh, yeah, I know. We miss having you do that. CW says, howdy, Joe and Linda.
Hey, CW.
Paul and Marjorie are all underground authors also. So welcome. We're glad that you're here. We did want to take a moment to say that one of our authors passed away recently on the 22nd. And Rox Berkey, a lot of you know her. I know this because we've been contacted by a lot of people that she publicized, and she was always there to help. And she was always willing to go the extra mile for everybody, and she'll really be missed.
She will be missed.
She and Charles were supposed to be on this show, but obviously this Charles is not ready to talk about the book or be on a podcast, because they had been friends and work partners and co-authors for 30 years, and he is going to deeply miss her, as are her children and her grandchildren.
CW says Rox was a super promoter.
She really was CW. In fact, that's how I met Rox at a writers' conference one time. She was talking about marketing and had some really, really good suggestions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she always did. You know, she knew her stuff, and she was always willing to help.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She encouraged a lot of people.
Yeah, she did. So we're going to miss her a lot. And it was sudden and shocking. So I think probably most of us in our writers group are, having a tough time having to say goodbye. But we'll try to talk about their book a little bit tonight.
Right. Marjorie says Rox was so wonderful and so involved. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It is.
It is, Marjorie. It's really heartbreaking. I mean, this authors all across the board have been contacting us, and everyone's very sorry that she passed.
Well, I think wasn't she was largely responsible for when we did the Texas book tour thing a couple years ago too, wasn't she?
Mhm.
She kind of spearhead that, and that was pretty successful, and that was a really great marketing tool. I don't think at least I wouldn't have ever thought of doing something like that. So that was a nice contribution there as well.
She was always thinking of things like that, right? Yeah.
Outside the box.
Yeah, I think so. She's going to be missed by a lot of people, not just our group, but a lot of other people. So, yeah. And she was supposed to be on tonight and was planning on being on. So, yeah. Okay.
All right.
I need to stop. Yes.
All right. Let's see. Which Joe, Linda? Which one of you had your book first?
Linda was first.
I think I did. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Linda, we should talk about yours first.
Right.
Okay.
Bring up your cover. It was a great book, by the way. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
Book Swap Shop. Book 37, Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles, Tea Room Murder by Linda Pirtle.
Award-winning author.
Yes. Yes.
Well, it really is a continuation of the Girlfriend Retreat, Cheaper Than Therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And in this book, Caroline and Magnolia Nadine are determined to find who murdered their friend Daphne Lee, who owned the head case salon there in town. And in doing so, they put themselves in danger. And at the beginning of the book, someone leaves a vase of roses on Caroline's front porch. And in the vase, there are black and white roses. The white roses are those who have already died, and the black roses are those who are going to die. So their names are on the stem, one of the stems of roses. So they're determined. And despite what the police chief and the captain, especially the new captain to Magnolia Bluff, he cannot stand for a female sleuth to get in his way, nor does he want Brandon Turner, who is Joe's main character in his latest book, to get involved either. So,
Right.
So whatever they do, they have to use a lot of discretion and sort of keep it a secret.
Yeah. But they don't really care.
No,
they're going full steam ahead, no matter what anybody says, or no matter who tries to stop them.
Caroline meets a new person in this book.
Yes.
And he is a substitute high school football coach because the prior coach died mysteriously in an accident, and she doesn't believe it was a true accident. And this fellow is named Mike, and he has kind of a checkered past as well. She doesn't quite trust him, especially because he spends the first part of the summer researching in the library, and he's reading about how you can kill people. And she's afraid he might kill one of the students. But we'll find out if he really is a murderer toward the end.
And of course, we're always reading about how you can kill people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Marjorie says the black and white roses were a great gambit at the opening of the story. And CW says they're always putting themselves in danger.
Always.
Those two, they're just always up to some sort of shenanigans or another.
Well, Magnolia Dean is a very wealthy lady.
Yes.
And she has hiding places on the ranch that not even her husband knows about. But her ranch foreman knows all about it.
Mm-hmm.
She has a vehicle hidden in one of those places. And she is with Graham Houston, who is the editor of the newspaper. And they're kind of working together in this story because his name, too, is on one of those roses. Mm-hmm. And he finds out that Magnolia Nadine is quite bold and much more adventurous than he ever thought she would be, especially when he's with her in her little sports car.
Yeah.
And she's flying off the road and just
yes,
going up and down hills.
Yeah.
Chasing these people on horseback.
Their friendship developed a little bit more.
It really has. He has learned to respect her and in fact has become the confidant of both Magnolia and Caroline.
Yeah.
CW says that car scene was fun.
It was fun. There were a lot of fun scenes. There were a lot of fun car scenes, actually, in that story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So.
Of course, I like cars. And
that helps.
Do you like driving fast, Linda?
I do.
Chasing horses?
I'm not chasing horses, but I have been known to chase some other people. I was the only English teacher that taught at a Catholic school who had a red T-top Corvette.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah. So I can, when you turn the ignition on in that car, it was ready to go. You better have your foot on the brake.
I went to my prom in a turquoise Corvette. That was a long
Yeah, we had a great time
ago for me anyway. I don't know about you. I'm probably older than you are.
I saw a blue Corvette drive by my, window one day, but it's about as close as I got to one.
I saw one on the highway.
Yeah.
My neighbor down the street had one. I saw him out in the driveway washing it one day, and I said, "Ooh, I know what that represents." And he said, "What?" I said, "How old are you?"
Huh?
He said, "Point taken." I said, "I used to have one of those too."
Well, I do have a couple of Corvettes on the cover of a book from a different series, so
you do.
So
Yeah.
that's again about as close as I've got to one.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. We thought those were your cars for the longest time.
No,
That's
no.
what you told us anyway.
That
Well,
is
the problem is that in reality, I can't get in and out of a car like that. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah,
You know.
no kidding, right?
That is
So,
Not
our
as easy as it used to be, huh?
yeah.
our grandson has what does he have?
Camaro,
A Camaro. Yes. And what does his father have? A Charger.
Charger.
Okay. So our grandson has a Camaro. When he bought it, he of course came over here to show us and take us out for a ride. And it was actually, I thought, really easy to get into and out of. Of course, I got to sit in the front seat. He might have a different story to tell having to sit in the back seat.
Makes a difference.
Yes, it does. But his mother and father and his two younger brothers were all going on vacation together in about a week. We're going up to Michigan to travel around a little bit. And she said, I can't get in out of that car, Mom. I don't know how you did that. But they're so low to the ground. And when you were young, none of that stuff bothered you. You just popped in and out, no big deal.
Well, in this book, Magnolia, Nadine, and the newspaper editor go into town. Caroline has really figured out who the murderer is. And they think that if Romero, who had worked for Mike, the new person that Caroline has met, and Caroline drive into town, she puts on a blonde wig to disguise. And they don't think anybody will recognize Romero. And he can, portray himself as just being lucky to have a blonde in the car with him as they drive into town. And Mike is probably one of the most mysterious characters in the book because he knows the police chief, Tommy Jager, and he also knew Caroline's husband because they were in the military together.
That was a shocker.
That shocked her to no end. Yeah.
It shocked me when I read it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's a small world. And it was interesting that he had owned a ranch outside of Magnolia Bluff, and no one had known he was there until he decided to let them know that he was, till he went to work at the school district.
So, Chris Chrisman, hi, Chris. Those cars are fun to drive, but not to sit in, LOL.
That's so true.
That's true.
And CW says Mike's very mysterious.
Yep.
Mysterious Mike. There's an alliteration there.
He's been hiding a lot. Well, in Texas hill country, the ranches are so spread apart, you can see how he had this ranch and nobody even knew he was.
Yeah, you could be isolated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that ranch had been handed down for several generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you all should buy it.
Yeah. There's a little bit of Native American folklore in it too, because in the book you learn the difference between a mesa and the medical mounds that had all the herbs and everything that the Native Americans used for medicine. And there's a character in there named Demetra. And I have to tell you a story about Demetra. There is a real Demetra in my life. And she's the paralegal who helped probate Caleb's will.
Oh.
And so she became very interested in the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles series. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, you do me a really good job on this and I'll put your name in my book. And I said, but you have to give me permission. It has to be in writing. And she just got so excited. She called her sister right then and said, I'm going to be famous. I said, I don't know about that. I will portray you as a good person.
There you go.
Yeah, I like Demetra. I like strong women. I like
And
women,
she's very strong.
very strong
And
women.
yeah, and she has a history with that ranch through her own family too.
Yep. Yep. But I like the way she's portrayed. She knows who she is. She's confident. She's
And
strong.
she likes for things to be done correctly
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and justly.
Mm-hmm. And she likes for people around her to do them that way.
Mm-hmm. And she's going to make sure it's done, whether they want it or not.
Right. Yeah, so I like her a lot. I really do. Anyway, I think y'all should buy that book. What's the name of it again?
Book
Book
swap
Swap
shop.
Shop Tea Room Murders.
Tea Room Murders.
The dog on the cover is my Popper, and she's also on the back cover. The book designer had to do a little bit of tweaking to get her on the front cover in a way that resembled my dog. But my grandson took the picture of my dog, and I promised him I'd use it on the book cover.
Oh, that's nice.
That's good. And there's the black and white roses on the porch.
Waiting to be found.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Black and white poodle and a black and white roses. Well, you usually have black and white poodles in your books.
Mm-hmm, I do.
And I love them. They're beautiful. I love standard poodles. They're really gorgeous.
So many people see Piper when I'm taking her for a walk. And one fellow called her a bird dog because of her black and white spots.
Okay.
And then another lady thinks that she's a doodle.
Okay.
She's really unique, and they can't quite put her in a category.
Yeah, she's beautiful and very sweet and always with you.
Always with me, yeah.
I'm surprised she's not right up there next to your Cherry.
She's on the floor.
Oh, of course she is.
And if she sees somebody walk by, you'll hear her bark. Everybody in the neighborhood knows her.
There you go.
Yeah, she's something, Piper is. She's a good girl.
Okay, well, shall we talk with Joe now for a few minutes? Joe, you came out with this one here,
Yep.
Blood is Thicker Than Money.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I can. Well, this book is a little different than the other two as far as how this story progresses. We'll say it was a harder book for me to write overall, just simply because I had a lot of things going on this year that kind of kept me out of the game a little bit, and it made it a little bit more difficult for me to concentrate as much as I wanted to. So it took me a much longer time period to write this book. And it's probably a softer book, we'll say, is the way I'm going to describe it, than the other two as far as the actual storyline goes. Now, that doesn't mean there's not a murder, because there is a murder in there, and there's some things going on. But the only thing I truly knew about this story before I started this story was how I was going to end this story. How I was going to get there, I had no earthly idea. And I'm not going to mention what that ending is, because you'll need to read the book to find it out. But I will say that I do explore a lot more of Brandon and Joyce's relationship, and Brandon's relationship with her son Jason in this book. So there's a little bit more softness, like I said, in the total overall storyline. But it's truly about a guy. There was a guy in the first book by the name of Ronnie Spatch. And Ronnie Spatch is a farmer. He's really old South kind of a guy. Didn't appear to have a lot in his life, but he did have a son in his life. He lost his wife early on. So, of course, his son, Ronnie Jr., lost his mom when he was young, and when he was 12 years old. A lot of that's covered in actually the very first book I did, Second Chances, for the series. Well, I resurrected those two characters in this book. Well, Ronnie Sr. was resurrected just to die in the first chapter, basically. So he's the murder victim. I can say that because it's actually revealed almost immediately. And why he's murdered is really where the mystery is. What took place? Why was he killed in the manner he was? Why was he killed at all? So that's what Brandon is trying to find out throughout the course of the book. And during that journey that he's on trying to solve this murder, he meets a new detective, detective that's come in to replace Detective Sovereign. Detective Reese Sovereign is out on a year-long special assignment. That is something that Reese is not my character, so I was not the one that sent him on the special assignment. But what this did was make me kind of change the way I looked at how I had Brandon and a detective, what that dynamic was between them, because in the first two books, there's tension between those two guys. My character Brandon Turner and Reese Sovereign, who is the detective. He's a special investigator, actually, I believe, for Magnolia Bluff. And with him not being around, well, something else had to happen in order for me to have interaction with the police. April Nunn Coker, who's also one of our authors, she introduced a new sergeant investigator in her book, but didn't really flesh him out as a complete character. He was in the book, but he wasn't really playing any kind of a real big role. So her and I chatted about that, and she gave me permission to go ahead and take the detective, whose name is Palmer Krause, and do what I wanted to do with him. So I created a new dynamic between Palmer Krause and Brendan Turner. And it's a whole different direction than what I was going with Sovereign. These two guys get along more in this book than Reese Sovereign and Turner ever did. And there's a lot of fun, I think, with how that progressed because of their different relationship. Palmer Krause is someone that's actually on loan to Magnolia Bluff while Reese Sovereign is gone for the year. So he's there. He's in from the Austin Police Department. And he gets in. The murder that is created for this story is really his murder to solve. Brandon is hired. Brandon now has decided that he's going to be a private detective, a private eye. So that's kind of revealed in the story as well, that he's going to hang out a shingle and be a private eye going forward. So that gave him an opportunity to work on this case, even though the police didn't need his involvement, because he was hired by Ronnie Spatch Jr., the son, to solve or to try to figure out what happened to his father, because Ronnie didn't really believe the police were really spending the amount of time necessary to really try to catch whoever may have killed his father. With Reese and his partner, Georgia Jean, being out on the special assignment, Ronnie wasn't too sure that the investigator that came in really had the chops to take care of what needed to take care of. So he hires Brandon to do that, and that's where the story kind of begins. So that's primarily what the book is about as far as the murder mystery. I don't want to talk about too much about what the actual reasons behind that is, because that kind of is a slow burn throughout the book as to what exactly is the reason behind why Ronnie Sr. was killed. So if I didn't already confuse everybody, I guess.
No, it wasn't confusing. Well, I really like Christine Congel says hello.
She's my sister.
Author, I know.
My sister-in-law. Yeah, her and her mom are like two of my biggest fans on the book. So
Catherine McKeon says I'm here. Was having technical difficulties.
That's my sister. So
I do want to. Joe, was it hard to write a character you didn't create? Chris Chrisman wants to know.
Not in this case, simply because I had free reign to develop the character's personality, style, and everything else about him myself. April did allow me to do that. And since he's probably not going to be a character that's necessarily going to be an ongoing character, because when Reese does come back, which he does, I believe, at the end of his year being gone, Austin will probably go back, Reese, Palmer Krause will probably go back to the Austin Police Department. So I was able to really do what I wanted to with the character. So I kind of helped him develop a little bit of a love interest. I gave him a personality that I felt fit nicely with the personality of Brandon to make those two guys get along. And it really wasn't a difficult procedure to make all that happen, just simply because April allowed me to do what I wanted to with the characters, and she didn't really do that part of that development with him. So.
At the beginning, you had said that this was a little bit different, a little bit softer. It was. And CW's, oops, wait a minute. Sorry, it moved. CW said, but it was a good different. And it was a good different. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the relationship that Brandon and Palmer have. And I hope we can get him to stay in Magnolia Bluff because he's a really good character.
Yeah, I liked him also, and I would love him to be able to stay. Now I don't know if that's something that would happen, with him being a full-time member of the Magnolia Bluff Police Department, because he truly is a member of the Austin Police Department. But it doesn't mean that, he can't pop up here and there helping out the Magnolia Bluff Police Department again on different cases.
Okay, CW said the character was so well developed, I'd love to have him to stay. And he didn't know what I was going to say.
Oh.
I didn't know that he wrote that. That's pretty
Oh,
funny.
I appreciate that from both
He
of you
must
guys.
stay. Yes.
Yeah.
He was.
I like Palmer as well. I thought he was. I thought that the personality that kind of came out for him is one that I felt really fit the story, and I truly think he'd be a good character to stick around. I believe that as well. The funny thing is that I'm a pantser, so how Palmer was going to really develop, I didn't really know when I started. It just kind of evolved as we went through the story and as things popped up. But I'm really pleased with the end result for Palmer Krause. I truly am.
Me too.
Okay, Marjorie says, I knew Brandon Turner had to get more fully involved in law enforcement again. I'm glad he did, Joe.
Yeah.
Brandon was glad he did as well. I mean, that's something that in the first couple of books he really fought. He retired from being a New York City police narcotics officer and moved down to Magnolia Bluff simply to get away from all of that.
CW says, and Palmer just is better than Reese.
Yeah, that's true. But Brandon wanted to get away from all of that. He moved, like I said, away from New York City to come down to what he thought was going to be a slower, easier pace for life. That didn't turn out to be the case for him because he moved to the murder capital of the world, by going to Magnolia Bluff. So he continued to get tied up and get caught up in different murder mysteries, in the first two books. And I'm happy to see that, other authors in our group have used Turner in their books to let them get caught up in some of those mysteries as well. So that's been kind of fun. But he's had to scratch an itch. He really he was a cop for a very long time, and the slower pace that he really thought he wanted was a little bit too slow in the time frame that he finally got it. Because in between the second book I wrote for this series and this one, which is the third book I wrote for this series, he did have the time to slow down and do some fishing and all that, mainly because the new captain that is in the Magnolia Bluff Police Department, as Linda had mentioned, really doesn't like outside interference from non-police personnel. And even though Brandon is, someone that's shared, the blue, if you will, for many, many years with the good captain, the captain really does not like Brandon, just simply for the fact that Brandon really does like to get involved, or not necessarily maybe even really like to get involved. And in the first two cases, he didn't like to get involved. He just did, and he did a good job with it. In this one, he wanted to get involved. He truly, becoming a PI, really helped him scratch that itch that he had. So he wanted to get involved in this particular case. And because he knows that Ronnie Jr. Has had a very difficult life with losing his mom when he was 12 years old. Now his father's gone as well. And Ronnie's not the sharpest tool in the drawer, if you want to say that too. He's a little bit off. So he really wanted to help this young man, kind of get his life back on track, considering all the heartache and trauma that's been in his life. So.
Yeah. Brandon Turner has a whole chapter in our book, The Hill of Sacrifice.
Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah. I actually finished your book. I just haven't done the review yet, but I'll get that for you.
No
I
worries.
will.
Yeah. I honestly
We know
hadn't-
where you live.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed. Yeah.
Literally,
so he has
we know where you live.
and in that chapter, in our book, came out before your book. And so in that chapter, Brandon makes it extremely clear to the characters in our book that they should not get involved with trying to solve anything because of the new captain. So, yeah, that's it. That's the one I'm talking about.
Well, that and Brandon, for as much as he gets involved in cases, he really doesn't want to see, amateurs, really getting hurt. So, he's not really big on necessarily having a lot of amateur detectives running around Magnolia Bluff either, because he feels he's got the experience behind him and what he does. So he's not trying to allow other people to get involved like that. I mean, he is willing to work with the police. He's willing to work with Palmer Krause, but he wouldn't probably work with a character that he felt wouldn't be able to kind of solve the crime or may get hurt trying to solve the crime. That's not really what he wants to do. Now, he'll give advice, and he'll kind of be in your corner, and he'll help you maybe try to do what you need to do, but at the same time, he'll try to talk you out of it if he can and tell you not to do it. Leave it up to the police, or leave it up. And now you can hire him because he's a private eye, so he can come on board and help you that way. But yeah, he feels that he's got the credibility to step in and help out, even in the cases where he didn't want to. And that's really the rub he has with the Captain Briggs, because Captain Briggs doesn't care that he's been on the job for as long as he was. He was on the job for 23 years, I think it was. I forgot now what I had him in there, but a long time. And so he's someone that really can help out when necessary. And Briggs just didn't want any part of it, even though he had the experience behind him, simply because Briggs is very old school and really believes that if you're not on the force currently, you're not a part of that department, you don't need to be there. And I think part of that's because he doesn't want people to get hurt either, but it's also because he just doesn't want the interference, period. He doesn't believe in it.
Yeah, well, our characters really thought that Brandon would help them do what they needed to have done and get them the intel. Brandon really let them know in no uncertain terms, because we talked to Joe about how he wanted his character portrayed, that they should not get involved in, that it would be a bad idea. But they do anyway.
They do anyways, because that's part of the fun of the book, right? They have to.
So I'm sorry, Linda, you were going to say something?
Well, I was going to say that I think the appeal to readers regarding the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles is the interplay of the characters from one book to the other.
Definitely.
We have learned so much about Brandon and all of the other characters that are involved in Joe's book that are also portrayed in the other books by other authors, that you really feel like it's a family unit there in Magnolia Bluff.
Yes.
Well, and that's what we want to portray, right? Because it's supposed to be,
people like.
It's a small town feel of people that think of their neighbors as their family, and would do anything for each other, right?
Right.
And that's the whole idea. The community really cares about the community and about each other. Of course, there are people in there that are a little nasty and think they're highfalutin and better than everybody else.
But that's every town.
But that's every town.
That's every town. And they are some people that probably a reader would enjoy most.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. Yes.
Yeah.
Mary Lou Fight, who is CW's character.
Yeah.
You love to hate her.
You have to hate her, but you also love to hate her. Exactly.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You got to have somebody like that. Come on. Everybody can't be all nice and wonderful. There has to be some nasty characters.
Well, And the nasty characters are the most fun to write too.
That's right.
You kind of can get some of that aggravation that you have with people, perhaps out there, without really hurting anyone.
That's true.
So,
That's
yeah.
true.
And Magnolia Bluff has a lot of paranormal stuff going on in there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's not just in our books, but in, Cindy's books, and a lot of the other books bring in all the paranormal.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting place to live, I think. I'd
Well,
live.
That it is.
We have that core group of characters, but then we have a lot of characters that are, I would say, transient.
Yeah.
They either come and leave or they come and die, one way or the other. They're only for a short while.
Yeah.
I love that about Magnolia Bluff, to be honest, because I don't know if you have watched Midsummer Murders.
Yeah, I watch it all the time.
Love it. Absolutely love it. We've watched every single episode. That's 20 years of Midsummer Murders or something, and we've always joked about we would never go to Midsummer to visit when we went to England, because you go there to
one place to stay away from.
But we love it, and it's definitely the murder capital of that part of England.
Well, as an author, you develop a character who may become a major character when only you intended that person to be a minor character.
Yeah.
Because the Romero that I have in the Magnolia Bluff was also in my first series, The Games We Play.
Yeah.
There are just some characters that won't go away.
Well, it's funny you say that, because that's how I felt about Palmer Krause, because he played a very small part in April's book, and he plays a very big part in my book. So, and I think you're right on that. And it just, sometimes you just find somebody in these books that really is a star waiting to be born, I think. And I think that's really
you're right. I hadn't thought about it that way, but that star to be born. Yeah.
Palmer could definitely be in his own book. There's no doubt about it. You wrote him really well. Everybody loves him. Obviously, we don't want him to leave. Don't go back to Austin.
Well, we can send Reese Sovereign to Austin. I mean, let's let him go there, and then we'll keep Palmer Krause.
Well, you'd have to ask me about that.
Well, no, I'm just thinking that Reese is an interesting character. I've always liked Reese also, but he is a different character. And I do like him, and I do like the dynamic that him and Brandon have always had. It will be interesting if when Reese comes back, if I can somehow have Palmer show up for something and see what happens between the three of these guys. I think that could be interesting as well.
I think Reese is, he reminds me of Columbo.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
He's smarter than you think.
Yes, he is.
Plans.
Yes, yes, and he's nicer than you think. We've seen that in when he's had get-togethers and stuff like that. You see a different side of Reese. Chris Chrisman had said, "We love pantsers," when you said you're a pantser.
Yeah.
And then he said, "Do you guys," and this is really funny, "do you guys have a character Bible the other authors can reference, or just by reading and talking to each other? I'm curious." Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. And Marjorie
is the next person.
Reassembled everything together.
Yes.
Very good
Marjorie
work.
made the next comment, which I thought was really funny, because yes, Marjorie is keeping us all abreast of everything that's happening. Marjorie said, yes, Midsummer Murders is terrific. It is.
When we finish one book, if we've introduced a new character, we send her the dossier on that character.
And then she keeps us all up to date. Yep. And it's good because, oh boy, do you need that Bible? You really do, Chris, because I forget who my characters are from the other books. Never mind. Trying to figure out everybody else's and remember all of theirs too. You know how it is. You're an author. You're like, no, wait a minute.
Well, and it's funny too, because what Marjorie put together is wonderful. And if you remember, Rox is the one that opened up our Google Drive that we can upload all this stuff too, so we can all find it. So, a lot of help there from different people to make that work for all of us. So, I think to Chris's point, you've got to have something you can refer to, and we've been able to do that. And, through no help from me, apparently, but from other people that have put that up there that I can go reference when I need to, which is kind of nice. I agree.
Yeah, us too. Chris Chrisman said, "Good characters live on." They do.
Amen.
They do. They do live on. And you get attached to different characters, especially when you're the reader. Like I got attached to some of your characters, Linda, and you mentioned one of them earlier, Demetra. I just really like her. I like who she is. I like the way she acts. Not that she plays a pivotal role in your book, but she's a very important character.
She made things happen.
Yeah, for real.
And the way we've structured Magnolia Bluff, it's okay to bring one of those minor characters to the forefront and let them be the star of their own book.
Yes.
Yeah, and she could easily be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Chris Chrisman said, "Yes, it's hard enough keeping track of my own characters." LOL. It is. It really is. You want to read this one?
Marjorie says, Reese plays a big role in my book scheduled to be published in April 2026. He's a very interesting character.
Yay, Marjorie. That's good to know.
And I got to tell you, I'm looking so forward to Marjorie's first book in this series because she's a terrific writer, and I just can't wait to see how she handles this. Her take on Magnolia Bluff. It's going to be fun.
And Paul Hollis also.
Yes, yeah. Paul as well. Yeah, I think Paul's is going to come out this year, though, right?
November. Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
Well, our group has certainly grown, that's for sure, and it's really interesting because the diverse genres that have come together for this one little town.
I like it.
One little town.
But that's what's so much fun about writing as part of the underground authors from Magnolia Bluff, because every one of these books, every one of these authors for every one of these books has a different take on this, but we're all still in that same town using those same characters, and you get to see the same personalities for the most part, but you get so many different things. I mean, there's really truly something for everybody out there, regardless of what kind of murder mystery or what kind of mystery or what they want, whether it's cozy, whether it's thriller to a point. There's all kinds of good stuff in this.
Techno, romance.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, to your point, Joe, we live in a small community, okay? And I know how we relate to the people across the street from us and how we think of them. And the people that live over there, we know how they relate to them and what they think of them, which, believe you me, is very different from what we see. Okay. Right. And so I think to your point, that's a good thing that all of these people, all of us authors, are featuring all these people, and we're seeing them through our eyes, having read them about them, and then give our own take, which wouldn't necessarily be the way that the original author would have written them.
Well, everybody's three-dimensional, and if we just didn't write them about them from a different point of view, they'd just be stick figures.
Yes.
Yeah,
I agree. And I'll tell you what I really love about this series is the idea that even though you start from book 1 all the way to book 39, 40, wherever we are right now, and beyond, you get a good solid series, right? Where everything kind of interconnects. But if you want to just read one author or two authors in there, or start there, you can get a mini series within that series. Because I know that even though my 3 books intersect with the entire series, they are actually a little mini series within if you just read those 3. Same thing with the ones you did, Rob and Jonah. Same things with what you've done, Linda. And if you look at everybody else's, it's pretty much the same way. So it's all sharing still the town, but you don't really lose anything by skipping. I'm book 17, 26, and 38. Those are my 3 books, 17, 26, and 38. But if you just read those 3, it would still make sense. If same with you and everybody else. But if you read from 1 to 40, they all still make sense as well.
Still makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Joe, this leads me into the question I was going to ask Linda next, but I'll ask you first. You've got 3 books in the Magnolia Bluff series. Which one is your favorite, and which one was the hardest one to write?
Well, this one was the hardest one to write, but it mainly because of other factors, not because of the writing itself. I mean, that it wasn't that. It was just things that were happening in my life, throughout the course of this year that kind of took my focus away from writing the book. So that's what made that hard, so a little different. But I would also say, from a writing the book standpoint, that the second one, Catch a Tiger by his toe, it was the hardest one to write because of what exactly that story is about. So that I had to be very delicate in how I handled that because of the children perspective in that, because a lot of folks, are not going to touch a book that, a child may die in, and so how to handle that so that that's not an issue, for the story itself, and how I wanted to bring that story to be. So that was probably the hardest book from a writing perspective. So I guess 2 out of 3 of them are harder to write. My favorite one still, honestly, is the first one, Second Chances, because it was my first. It was my first time writing a book for this series. I enjoyed the process immensely, learning about the entire series that beyond, before me, learning about all the characters, how to let them intersect with me or with my characters. And so and the way that turned out, I truly, for me, that's still my favorite of those 3.
Okay, Linda, we're going to throw that question at you as well. Your favorite and the hardest one to write.
My favorite and the most difficult one to write are one and the same.
Oh.
The Girlfriend Retreat I wrote during Caleb's illness, and it's a very short book, but it was very cathartic in one way because I have a group of girlfriends I've gone to school with from elementary through high school. We graduated together. And I won't tell you when that is, but or when that was, but we still get together, and we've done this for over 25 years. We all went away after graduation from high school. We raised our families and had our careers, and then we had empty nest. And throughout that time frame, we'd always communicated with each other, but we never really had the opportunity to be together. And so the Girlfriend Retreat includes some of those ladies by name. And it was really fun because some of the experiences that the girls in that book experienced or had actually happened. And then some of them were just made up out of my fancy. But they all loved the book because I made us all 40 years old. I changed careers, and for example, one of the ladies was running for lieutenant governor of the state. One likes to cook, and so she ended up with a cooking school in France.
Yes,
and so that really I was ready to quit writing.
Yeah.
But that book kind of charged my energies again. And I could not decide whether I was going to let Caroline exist in the future books or, the readers, once they fall in love with the character, if you do something to that character, they get mad at you.
They do.
So I decided, after talking to several of the underground authors, that maybe she ought to be allowed to live.
So I was so
solve another crime on another day,
Caroline's a great character. I mean, she truly is,
Really a great character.
Let's face it, who's going to run the library if not her?
No
right?
kidding.
I mean, she's got so much knowledge about it,
Well, the beauty of her is that she is very discreet. She knows everything about everybody in town. but she does not share that knowledge.
And she always knows what's best for everyone to read. She's always got the book right at her fingertips. She's just amazing, and it would be
especially
sad
when it comes to Fergus, the town drunk.
Yeah.
She is very, very sympathetic to him, and he too is smarter. He's kind of like Sovereign. He's smarter than he appears to be.
And he cares about everybody in the town.
He cares about everybody else. He idolizes Caroline and wants to be her protector in this book.
Yes.
And there's a really funny scene with him when he steals a pony because he does not think the police are working fast enough. He's just going to go get her himself. So his only mode of transportation is a stolen Mustang.
Well, it's probably true with the Magnolia Bluff Police. I mean, everyone thinks they're not working fast enough, let's face it. And they're probably not.
I don't know if any police force is ever working fast enough for anybody who needs the police, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, if they were working fast enough and they were doing the job in the way that you'd like them to do, if they were a credible police department, you wouldn't need all of us having characters solving mysteries for them or
no. We'd have really short stories instead of novels.
You can kind of shake them up and get them to do their jobs and do it for them if they need to. So
now I don't remember if I read this or not. Did we? Reese plays a big role.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And CW said Reese even plays a big role in my book coming out in February.
Yeah.
Finally, CW can write about his own character.
Right, exactly.
We've stolen him so many times.
I know. Reese has played a big part in my first two books, and I really enjoy him as a character. I really do. And I'm glad to see Reese coming back because that gives me, like I said, the opportunity to kind of fit him back in again in the next one for next year. But it's going to be great to see him star in a starring role in CW's book because now we get to see how CW thinks about his character, right?
Yes, yes, that'll be good.
We actually owe a lot to CW because not only do we have Reese from him, we have Mary Lou Fight, who has played a prominent role in more than one of the series. We have Harry and Ember. And
features in our book.
Yeah.
A bit. Yeah.
And quite honestly, the really good wood-fired coffee and ice cream emporium is a character all in itself, and
without a doubt. I mean, just the name of the restaurant is hilarious. Yes. And I love it so much.
Yes.
And it was a feature in our first book, A Chance of a Ghost, Harry and Ember. And the title of the restaurant were a big feature in our book.
Yeah. I mean, that's a character. It reminds me in a way, even though it's not really the same thing, but on the show Friends, we had Central Perk where everybody kind of hung out.
Yes.
That's really what
it is.
This restaurant is, this coffee shop. It's really that for the town.
Well, and
everybody comes through.
If you've ever lived in a small town and you walk into a restaurant or a coffee shop, they already know what you're going to order.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we actually, and this may be a little embarrassing, but for 10 years, we've gone to the same restaurant for breakfast on Sundays with one of our daughters and her husband and their two kids. And when we walk in, they say the family's here.
Uh-huh.
Not organized crime.
Right.
And
I want to be clear about that.
A new waiter was there, and he walked over and he said, "You came in and they said to me I had to be nice to you because you're the family." And I said, "Oh, we're the families," and we all started laughing. But that's what they.
Joan, you've been there too much. When in McDonald's here is an example of that. We go there for coffee, a friend and I do, and when the little guys come from around the corner, the counter to give you a hug, and they always their coffee poured exactly the way you wanted. you're in like Flint.
Yeah.
The cashier at our Publix actually came around and gave me a hug the other day. I shop at Publix too much, and we all eat at First Watch too much. I did want to say this, Joe. You really praised Marjorie and saying how much you're looking forward to her book. And she said this, which is pretty funny. She said, "Thanks, Joe, I'm blushing, but I can live with that, LOL."
She'll take that.
She'll take it, yeah. She'll live with blushing. Chris Chrisman says, "You all have created such a fantastic group of authors writing awesome stories." Oh, thank you, Chris. That's
Thank
really
you,
nice
thank
thing
you.
to say. And we're having fun at it, as you can tell. You should be at our meetings. Yep, they're fun.
Oh yeah.
You should say that more enthusiastically.
Yep.
Oh yes, they're fun.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
Chris Chrisman said, like Baskin Robbins, a flavor for all readers. That's very nice, Chris.
Really
Hope
is.
we have
Yeah.
more than 31, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we already do. Chris Chrisman said, "Love my local coffee shop." That's good. That's good. I'm glad that you do. We had to go to a different First Watch the other day. It was good though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we went with our friends from St. Petersburg, so we went to the St. Petersburg one. But
Well, before we end up, we do want to give a little shout out for Cindy Davis's book that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet, called Win Some, Lose Some. And there it is right there. And do you want to say anything about that one? Or?
yeah, I read it and I really enjoyed it. And but I'll just read her blurb because she then says what she wants to say about the book. The R&R in Alaska was great, but Hannah, rest and relaxation, and for those of you who didn't pick up on that right away, was great, but Hannah, Bliss, and Whitney are happy to be home until they walk into the house to find a strange man dying on the braided rug in the living room. Their resident ghost has no idea how he got there. Resident ghost, just for those of you who haven't read any of her other books, she slid that in there real quick, so you should read the other books to find out why there's a resident ghost. The resident ghost has no idea how he got there. While on vacation, the girls made a pact: no more investigating. Too dangerous, too expensive. That is the truth. But the image of Randy Washburn on the braided rug of their living room, once seen, is impossible to unsee. How did he get into their locked home? Why? Who had a grudge against the father of 3 small children? The clues dropped at their feet by the intrepid toucan, Diablo, are too good to ignore, and soon the girls are on the case. Motivated by Randy's murder, they decide to open a place where families like his, left alone after a devastating event, can stay and recover. Is it coincidence the setting they choose is the scene of a crime directly related to the murder?
Ta-da.
There you go.
Well, and I'll tell you, and Bliss, Cindy's character, another terrific character that was just passing through and decided to stay.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I want to also mention, came out last month, is Flight Enigma. That's by Charles Brakefield and Rox Berkey. In the serene refuge of their Magnolia Bluff home, JJ and Joe sought a respite from the unrelenting pressures of their lives. For Joe, it was a chance to escape the adulation of her fans, while JJ, with his flexible work arrangements, was eager to cultivate their emotional connection away from the chaos. Yet, unbeknownst to them, their idyllic retreat was poised to be upended by a tempest of secrets, betrayal, and imminent danger. So that's another new one that's out. And then we've got the latest one that's available for pre-order right now. We got our copy today. It's on sale and comes out September 20th by Richard Schwint, who I'm surprised isn't with us tonight, but maybe he's just being quiet. The Woman Who Cried Through the Storm is the name of it. When the psychology department of Burnett,
Burnett.
Burnett.
Burnett. That's right. Burnett College is ordered on a healing retreat. Dr. Michael Kirilek turns to family friend Chris Allard for assistance. Chris and his wife Kate travel to Magnolia Bluff, Texas, anticipating a few days' work and some good barbecue. Instead, he finds himself trapped in a cabin on the Colorado River during a flash flood with a team of traumatized psychologists, 3 students, and at least 1 psychopath. Oh boy. When a corpse appears, their troubles are just beginning. Chris and Mike will have to solve this together, but Mike is a suspect and losing his emotional stability. Chris is tired and everyone around him is falling apart, but solving murders in remote places is what he does best.
So I'll tell you, Richard has the most interesting titles for his books, doesn't he?
He does.
He really does.
So that's available for pre-order right now.
Yep.
On Amazon for 99 cents.
And we have a couple of more comments. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, so Chris Chrisman said the downside is we have to smile even when we're having a bad day. LOL. If you go to a local coffee shop. CW says Cindy's book is a good read. It is a good read. And Chris Chrisman says, thank you, Rob, Joan, Linda, and Joe. Great show. Lots of fun. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. And I hope everybody enjoyed meeting our authors. Buy their books.
Thank you for having us on.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm glad you fired this up just so we could get on here again. You know, it's fun. I enjoy this.
Yeah, we'll do it at least once a month. I know people would really like us to do it once a week again because we get a lot of
ain't gonna happen.
a lot of people saying, please do it every week. But that's probably not going to happen. But we will do it once a month. We have so many people who want us to have them on the show. And as you heard at the beginning of the show, we have people from all over the world that are enjoying it and letting us know.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wonderful to get y'all out there.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. Great. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We do appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. And Paul Hollis says, another great show. Thanks, Rob, Joan, Linda, and Joe.
Thank you, Paul.
And we're looking forward to Paul's book, too. Yes. He's going to be doing in Magnolia Bluff. And CW says, thanks for a great show, y'all. I think CW, you're missing. Yeah, you're missing Texas. You're in Cali now.
Yeah.
Cali.
When you're in Cali, you don't call it California, you call it Cali. We know this because our oldest daughter has lived there forever. Marjorie Deering says, an hour well spent. Thanks all. Thanks, Marjorie. Mm-hmm. Catherine McKean says, great job, authors. They did do a great job. And Chris Chrisman says, we support indie authors. Yes, Chris, thank you. We really appreciate your support. All of us do. And I love the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. I really do.
Well.
And I'm really glad that you and Caleb invited us to be a part, Linda. We appreciate that a lot. It was so amazing that Caleb said, I want you to write about the paranormal. And we had thought about it for years and just never got into it. And it's been so much fun to blend our two loves, paranormal investigation and crime writing.
Caleb helped everybody I can think of and encouraged them to write.
Caleb did.
It's truly his passion.
And he helped so many of us so many times. And he was able to tell you things in such a succinct way that you understood what he meant. And Joe mentioned that when we did the podcast from your house, Linda, he said when Caleb talked that day, you could hear a pin drop. And that was interesting to me that Joe said that because that's the way I felt while Caleb was talking. I felt like, okay, I don't want to miss a word that he's saying here. And I felt like I could feel that throughout the whole audience, that everybody was just listening so intently. And
I've really missed bouncing ideas off of him, you know.
I am
So,
sure that you do.
But
Yeah, we do.
but I have a critique group that helps as well. And
You've got
Joe's
a
part
good,
of it.
yes, he
there you
is.
go.
And we are brutally honest with each other
Yes, we are,
Well,
but in a good way.
that's
in a
good.
good way.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the comments, good or bad.
Yeah. Well, everybody needs constructive criticism. You don't need
one's
criticism that tears you down and leaves you bleeding on the floor. Nobody needs that.
Mm.
But constructive criticism, we all need that.
We do. We do.
Hmm. Helps us grow.
And speaking of that,
Yes.
I don't know of any author who would not appreciate a review on Amazon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
No.
right. You read a book, review a book. Just saying.
And
There you go.
you don't have to be a literary critique person. Just say what you think about it.
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
That's what I like when reviewers review our books that just say what they like about it, without telling the whole story. I
Yes.
want to tell the story. We want to
Right.
tell the story. I want the reader to read the story. So when I review people, I like to say what I like about it, what makes me like that book.
What did it make you feel?
And when I read reviews, that's what I look for,
Mhm.
because
So do I.
that's what I'm looking to read, right? Is that sort of thing. So anyway, I know I've got to get off my soapbox.
You're absolutely correct, though.
That's
Reviews are really supposed to be designed so that it helps another reader understand whether or not this is a book they would like too.
Yeah.
And that's really what they're most important for. And it obviously helps people find your book the more you have of those.
Yeah. And
So-
a rating without a comment doesn't help anything.
No, especially if it's a rating that's not
5.
yeah, exactly, because then you don't even know why they didn't rate it that way, and
Well,
I'd
what did we
almost
do
never
wrong?
hear
How can we
why.
improve?
Yeah,
how
why
can we
did
do
you?
better?
Why did you? Yeah, what is it about the book? And I know there's some people that they just won't rate above a 3. That to them that's wonderful, or whatever. And some people won't rate anything other than a 4 or 5, and they won't rate it all if it's not that. So so I know there's people like that too, but all
Well,
of
if
them
you're a person like that won't ever give you more than a 3 or a 4,
yeah,
then say that. I never give more than a 3 or a 4. So this is my highest rating, because it is their highest rating.
right,
You
and that's
know?
okay.
So
And
when
that's
people look at
okay.
that,
But
they'll
then
say,
when
"Oh,
people
well,
look
we
at
understand that." Then
that 3 means more
Yeah,
than a 3, which unfortunately, the way that Amazon does their analytics actually hurts authors when you
Yeah.
give them a 3 or a 4. But as to
Well,
how they promote your books.
Well, I was gonna say, I appreciate all reviews. I'd rather have somebody review it that didn't appreciate the story than not review it at all. Because I'd still like to know. I don't expect that my books are going to be everybody's taste. I mean, I'm certainly not that naive. I get that, but and if you read it, I guess I'd still like to know what your thought was. Whether or not
exactly.
why didn't why it didn't connect with you. I mean, that's
But
okay too, right?
that's the same thing as saying why it did connect with you. That's the whole point, because you don't want somebody buying your book that feels the same way. Oh, I don't like, whatever it is, or I really like whatever it is. You know what I mean? If you're looking for like a strong emotional connection, or if you're looking for really well-developed characters, things like that, and if you feel like, they didn't have enough of an emotional connection and that you always look for that, then the person who feels the same way won't buy that book, and they shouldn't buy that book because they're not going to enjoy that book.
Right.
So to your point, that is a good thing though.
Yeah.
That way,
Yeah, I just want you to be honest in the review. Give me an honest review and
there's
go
some
from there.
comments. We have a couple more comments. Let's see. Yes, I love this book. If you like mysteries, read it. Yeah, exactly.
I got to say,
George is better than just stars. Yes,
That's
it
right.
is.
Something's
Yes.
better than nothing.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about. I love this book because I love mysteries, or I love this book because it it has a really important dog in it.
There you go.
hey, nothing
And
wrong
that
with
dog
that.
saves lives.
I love books with dogs in it. I mean, seriously,
That's
I
good. We'll
do.
put one in the next one too. Yeah.
I'm dogging my books, so what the
There
heck?
you
I
go.
know you can never kill Max.
Dog is man's best friend. Yeah.
That's
There
that's
you go.
right. So I know that sounds funny, but really, I enjoyed April's all of her books, but I enjoyed her first one because it had all these dogs and little creatures in it,
Yeah.
and I had so much fun reading that about the little hedgehog and everything. It
Yeah.
was just, I mean, I enjoyed it. And that's one of the things that made me like the book. Now, that's a silly thing, but,
If
it's
that's
the
what you
truth.
like, that's what you
No,
like.
but it's
Yeah.
funny though because you say that because the hedgehog part of that story is kind of heartwarming in a way. When you find
Yes.
out who the hedgehog belongs to, how all
Yes.
that whole thing. It's fun. Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
how much it means to that person and
Yep.
everything. You're like, oh,
Yep.
that's a cool ghost. LOL. Why not? Yes. Yes. That would be a good one for me. I'd be like, oh,
There you
that's
go.
a book I need to read.
Let's grab that one.
Yes.
Well, it's funny you say it because I was in. I went to Old Forge in the Adirondacks over this past week too. I was up there, and there's a bookstore there, and first off, there's a hardware store that's much more than a hardware store. You go in there, there's a whole bunch of different stuff. It's been there for 100 years or something, and they got a bookstore in the hardware store, and they've got a section in the bookstore about the haunted Adirondacks. And they've got it all broken down, like haunted Old Forge, haunted this, haunted that, haunted the other. And I thought of you guys when I saw that whole string of books. I said, "Oh, you guys would love this,"
Well, yes. Guess what happened? Steve Altier, one of the authors who's been on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
He went on an investigation with us because he writes ghost stories, but he had never been on an investigation. He came with his wife. They had the most amazing time. They couldn't believe it. It was nothing like what they thought it was going to be like. They said, you can actually tell the difference between the different spirits and their different personalities. And we said, yeah, they're people and their personalities shine through. So anyway, we've recently and Steve has come on other investigations with us since then. And he did a book signing the other day. And he emailed us right away, and he said, this bookstore has a coffee shop downstairs and then a bookstore upstairs, and the same person owns it. And he said, and it's haunted. It's one of the first things they told us. And he said, I told them I know an investigation team that might want to,
Yeah.
come there and investigate. And the owner said, please. And so we're going there to investigate.
This hardware store I was just telling you about in Old Forge. Apparently, that's haunted by the original owner, but only at night after the store closes. I mean, that's the rumor or that's the story that the owner walks the halls of the hardware store after hours. So,
That's interesting.
So,
well, the owner said to him, they have a mirror that's hanging 15 feet high and not near anything. It's just hanging like a decoration, as a statement piece. And they walked in one day and there was a child's handprint on the mirror. And they were like,
15-foot tall child.
So, everybody in our team was, we asked them, do you want to do this? Because, we knew what the answer was. But everybody's like, yes.
Yes,
my friend Beth was going, yes, 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 yes.
Well, this will be good because then it'll show up on a campfire podcast later on, and we'll all get to share it.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you will. You'll get to share it, and hopefully we'll have some evidence. We have a new piece of an equipment because our trailer was, out of commission for most of last year, so we didn't take a trip. We're taking one in September, but we didn't take a big trip like we normally do in the summer, and which usually involves ghost hunting too, by the way. But we bought this piece of equipment that we'd been wanting to buy for a while, but it's really expensive. So instead, we spent that vacation money on that piece of equipment. It's called an Ovilus. And so we'll have a new piece of equipment to share. Chris Chrisman said, wow, oh, about the handprint of the little kid. Yeah. I know. It's so exciting. I can't stand it. I'm really excited.
When are you going to do this? When?
A week from Saturday?
Yeah, a week from Saturday, yeah. 13th.
Yeah, the 13th. Yeah. Yeah, we're really, really looking forward to it. We really are. I think the whole team wants to go, which seldom is. It's usually Beth, Les, Jess, Rob, and I that go. And then...
Well, I'm anxious to hear about it.
Yeah.
I know. But it's a bookstore, and it's haunted. It's like...
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how happy I am. It's a bookstore.
That's what you read about in Cozy Mysteries. You don't expect it in real life.
Yeah.
But I love bookstores, and I love spirit, and I love...
This is a cozy mystery waiting to happen, right, as you get in there.
It is. Isn't it, though? Our next book maybe have to do with this.
Hope it's just a cozy mystery.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sure that they're hoping we can get them some answers for I guess other stuff has been going on, but since a lot of us are sensitives, we don't like to hear all the, all the stuff. So we haven't heard anything else except the handprint. But we don't know what's happening there. So we're looking forward to it. But the Ovilus, we just did an investigation last week. And we, like I said, we bought this new piece of equipment, the Ovilus, and it has a vocabulary of like 2,400 words or something like that. And the science behind it is that as there's shifts in the atmosphere, the ghosts can use the words to say words. So, we asked if there was anybody there that wanted to speak with us, and it said Betty, right? Mm-hmm. So we kept asking for Betty. Was there a Betty there? Blah, blah, blah. That never happened. And we did make contact with the spirit there, who was named something quite different than Betty. And then the next day, the owner said, I forgot, because he kept saying, no. He said, I forgot. That's what we called her when she was little. We called her Betty Boop.
Oh.
And that was the first word said, Betty. So that was cool.
That's interesting.
I know. Chris Chrisman said it doesn't get any cooler than a haunted bookstore for you guys. I know. In case you can't tell, I am super excited about this particular. Plus, it's a very old building in an old part of the town that we're going to. So, it should be pretty cool. I already feel like there's probably multiple spirits there. So that's just what I think. We'll see.
Well, do you think we're going to have everybody say goodnight again?
Yeah.
No,
I'll stop talking.
They probably already signed off.
Yeah. Linda, Joe,
Jones
anything else
again.
Anything else you guys want to share about your books or anything?
Buy it, please.
Yeah.
There you go.
or at least download
review.
it. If you've got the Kindle Unlimited, just download it. It works that way too.
That works for us people.
And if you read it, review it.
Yep. As authors, we love the Kindle Unlimited. Please don't feel obligated to buy the book. You go right ahead and read it.
Read it.
Yeah, if you've already got that account opened up and you're doing that anyways, it's not going to cost you anything to get all these books and read them. You're already
At
paying
least
for that
try
account.
it. Give it a shot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
CW says goodnight, y'all. Again.
Again. Well, I guess until next time.
Yeah. That's all, folks.
Night all.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this special edition of Meet the Author podcast. Watch for more episodes in the future. In the meantime, you can enjoy episodes like this at indiebooksource.com or on YouTube at Meet the Author Podcast.